My name is Joshua, and I am the Tribune. For everybody out there who wants to create with God, and you're thinking, I'm going to just jump in and create with God, and I'm going to take the current creativity I have and my current inspiration and just go with it, and God's going to meet me there. No, He's not going to meet you there. He's going to do opposite. You know why? Because that's what Satan's children do. They take their current creativity, whatever they have right now, and they just start creating stuff. But God doesn't do that. God wants the purest form of your creativity. He's after the purest form of everything. So what He does is He does opposite. He will go back and take you back into your childhood as earliest as you can remember. And He will talk to you about your inspiration as a child. The reason for this is because, number one, He needs you to know that He's God. The reason why you know He's God from this is because you will see that He has been planting things way back inside of you, from when you couldn't even remember, from when you couldn't even barely think. He will show you that He's been planting things in you for this time. Things that He will piece together and show you, this is why you liked that when you were 4. This is when you liked that when you were 5. Now, in order to do this, you have to have a relationship with God. You have to be His friend because He's the one who explains these things to you. Not only do you need Him to actually explain the principles that you were fascinated with when you were a child, but He will also bring people who were around you at that time and clues to point you back to what you liked as a child. Now, this is one of the reasons for nostalgia. One of the reasons for nostalgia, the reason why we feel nostalgia, is because when we look back, there are things that we haven't excavated. We actually haven't dug out those things from the past, from our childhood, and understood why we love them so much. So there's a sadness that comes over us. There's a sadness because it's something that we think we lost. It's something that we think we'll never see again. But what God has put in place is a system that if you become a Christian and be His friend, get to know Him as a father, as a cover, then He will start taking you backwards. And He will start explaining to you in detail why you liked what you liked. The reason why it's so amazing is because this is the purest state of you. This is before you're tainted by anything. This is when you were closest to God as a child, as a little tiny one. He also allows, way back then, He allowed people to introduce you to certain things that were good, certain things that you attached to. It could be anything. It could be a movie. It can be a toy. It can be a painting. It can be a certain type of group of people that you're supposed to be used to influence or to speak to. It could be a certain type of animal. It could be anything. It could just be a feeling you have that you don't even know what it's connected to. He will take these things and explain them to you in detail. This is part of how He starts the creative process with you. So when you start creating with God, after you become a Christian, get to know Him as a father, and then He starts to call you His friend, it's important for you to know He's going to take you back. And you should already get in gear to begin thinking this way. Because if you're already getting in gear, you will be prepared for when He wants to take you back. And maybe it'll be easier because you will have things that you will actually come to Him and say, hey, God, why do I like this? That really should be your question. Why do I like this? What is it about this thing way when I was a child that I like so much? I want to know the purest form of why I liked it, not the cliche stuff. And this is why you need God. Because people who don't have God, it's very difficult to do this because He understands exactly why you like that particular thing way back when you were young and you could barely even communicate it. Nobody can understand that because at the time when you were a child, you couldn't really communicate that to anybody. So he's the only one you can go to for this. This is one of the huge benefits about being God's friend, is he will actually explain these things to you. And you will see that his intention is to pull those things from the past, pull it from way back there, pull them back into the now, and you can use those things for what he really intended for you to use them for, which is his wonders, building his purpose. This is what this is about. So, something I have to explain to you guys is that when you do this, you will think that some of these things are ridiculous. The things that you are kind of embarrassed to look at, the things that you might think, that's kind of weird that I even like that, or that I feel that way about that thing, that is a sign it's God trying to point you to that thing, because you need some explanation. Now, the enemy will actually fight this. How will he fight it? He will make you feel like you're stupid. He will make you feel like that's nothing. He'll make you feel like, that's actually wrong. Why'd you like that character in that movie? He's actually one of the bad characters. And I felt this great way about this horrible character. No, you need to go and find that, because there's something there. I told you. God loves taking from things that you don't think he wants to take from. This is partly how he shows he's God, is because he actually takes things and wants to talk to you about things that you might think that he wouldn't want to talk about. So, when you go on this journey and you start taking these principles from when you were way back as a child, and you start looking at why you liked something. Let's just use a toy as an example. When you take that toy and you look at it, and he starts explaining not the surface things of why you like the toy, why it made you feel how you felt when you had that toy in your hand, and how that connects to now. The next thing is you need to start taking those principles and going with God and talking about them. That's what you need to do. This is so beautiful, because it will prove to you that God has been watching you way before you're even thinking about him. He has been watching you. He knows you. Now, I wouldn't say he's been studying you, because he already knows you, so he doesn't need to study you. But since we're talking on human terms, he's been studying you. He knows exactly why you like certain things that you don't want to tell anybody about, that you think is so stupid. If you got up this is for adults, if you got up in front of a bunch of adults and said, I've been thinking a lot about my toy from when I was 5 years old, and everybody would be like, are you serious? You need to look at those things. It's really important. So I'm going to be taking you guys on this journey of, from here, where would you go after you do something like this? After God starts speaking to you about these kind of things, what happens? Where does he take it? Where does he go from there? What are the next steps that will bring you into your purpose and preparing for your purpose, how he imagined it? Because he wants to touch on the raw, beautiful emotions, feelings, attractions that you had when you were so innocent. That's what he's looking for. This is another reason why it's important to stop filling yourselves up with filthy entertainment and trash that Satan's wanting everybody to dump into themselves, because it further taints you way past where you were when you were a child, when you were pure. It taints you. This is what I've learned. If you stop listening to these filthy songs, if you pull back from these visuals that wow, this is actually not good for me, then you will begin to connect with God in a place of purity, where your actual desires are, your deepest desires. Remember, this is why nostalgia is a thing, because that's why you feel sad. He is pointing to things. He is pointing to things that you are missing, that you are moving forward in life thinking that it's gone, that it'll never come back. When really his whole agenda is to bring that wonderful feeling that you have and make it part of your everyday life. This is how God starts creating with his people, with his friends. He will take you back and talk to you about the real stuff. And then take those principles and dump them into right now. And you will be astounded at what he creates. You will be shocked. And this is what keeps you moving forward with God, is seeing these kind of beautiful things he does. This is what makes him irresistible. This is how you become you become a friend and have a relationship with him, by going through this process. Because you start understanding that he's actually your deepest friend. He is your deepest family member. He is your true father. He will explain to you things that you were thinking when you were 3 years old, that your father has no idea. Your earthly dad has no idea you were even thinking. And then he will explain what you were thinking, and then explain why, and explain what that has done to you over the years. And then why he needs you to know it right now that you thought that, and it's going to be a huge benefit to you. This is who he is. This is who our God is. So, again, this is for builders. This is for people who are dying to work with God and create something so amazing that it will shock the world. This is what we're going after. And I know there's so many people out there who want that. Because really, that's what creativity is all about. That's what everybody's striving for. To create something that astounds the world and touches people. But this is the real way to do it. And I would say this is the only way to do it. Because it is. This is how it begins. Hail Jehovah.